you got a radio, right? And it has AM and FM on it in bands. Okay, bands of frequency. They know what each frequency level is, and they've shown it to you on the band. And you've got a tuner, and you can tune to that frequency, so you zero in on what that frequency is saying. You're communicating with it. Yes, that is a physical representation of the ability that you have naturally in your head to hear everything outside of yourself. And it comes from your pineal gland in your brain. Your pineal gland is part of your endocrine system. It does a lot of things. It has circadian rhythms because it sees light and dark. It's almost like an eyeball. It perceives light and dark. Okay. On its own. Doesn't need eyeballs for that. It knows. Okay. How does it know?
Yes, I was actually just reading the other day, sorry to interrupt, that the pineal gland has photoreceptors, actually, just like the eye,
Yes.
supposedly.
Yes.
So.
And yet it's lodged in your head. So those photoreceptors are receiving energy that you don't need eyes to see. That's what psychic ability is right there. Your pineal gland is the transmitter and the receiver for psychic input and output. People can hear each other everywhere all the time. Intuition means that the volume is up high enough on your ability for you to hear what everybody else is thinking. You get impressions, you get emotions, you get all kinds of things. We have to turn the volume back up. We have to clean up our. Now, here's the other thing. We have a society that thought polluting us and destroying our bodies was a good way to shut us up and do what we're told. Okay. Fluoride is the number one abuser of your pineal gland. If you're using fluoride in any shape, way, or form in life, it's calcifying your pineal gland and disturbing that ability right there. There are other chemicals that people eat. There are forever chemicals, plastics, all this stuff affect your body, including your pineal gland. Your endocrine system is all clogged up for it. We have thyroid problems. We have all kinds of major issues in our lives because of all the pollutants that we are all dealing with. But it makes us subjective to power and its rule over us. You know, there are anointed masters that show up from time to time, and when they tell you your body is a temple, believe them. Okay, it's true. This is what you have to use to be here. Do not destroy it. Otherwise, you destroy every chance you have of operating in reality in life. And you're just walking into walls all the way. Okay. So you have to clean yourself up. You have to drink pure water. You have to eat good food, pure food. If you're buying from the grocery store, everything is GMO these days. That's genetically modified. Don't do it. Stop, because it's changing you for the wrong. Okay. In the worst way, don't do it. Grow your own garden if you have to. Do not use anything with glyphosate on, pesticides. Don't do it. It's cancerous. Don't do it. It messes with everything in your body, including your endocrine system. None of your hormones can work properly under those conditions. And we are now a generation of people who are truly, deeply modified, not for the good, to the worst. And the people who are changing that are the ones that realize the truth and the science of it, and they've stopped. They've gone to holistic things. They've gone to nature. They're grounding. They're putting themselves away from all of the madness of it and living their lives out as purely as they can, because they know this body matters and they have to take care of it so that they can be in communion with themselves. Okay. Once you do that and become very psychically aware, you start to hear other people. You start to join with people psychically, and truth lives there 24/7. Nobody who's truly psychic can lie to you because they hear themselves saying it and they hear you saying it too. And it's abhorrent to them. Okay. We have to walk away from all of this. We have to tell our people we're going to start healing ourselves now, and y'all aren't going to do this to us anymore. And we do that by repelling what they're doing to us. You do that by you walk in the grocery store, you see it's GMO, put it back, don't touch it. Do everything you can not to go near that. Figure another way, go another way. I knew I was going OBE by the time I was 4 or 5. And at
Really?
first,
So early?
yeah, I would leave my body and I would like go outside, in the yard. And when you're on the other side, there is a energy that is moving constantly. You're in an energy field, even though you feel solid and you see and you have all your senses attached to you. You actually feel a different energy, and it was glorious to me. It felt like wind coming at me, and I used to lift my head, and it would lift me up. And by the time I was fully 5 years old, I could, pull myself up and go places and look at things from up high. By the time I was 8 or 9, I realized that I could go anywhere on this planet I wanted to. Only had to do was, know what it was, where it was, and I'd go there. I first place I visited was the Eiffel Tower. That was cool. I've I shunned away from places that were, um, negative. The first time I came upon something negative, it was such a bad experience for me that I fla slammed back into my body, and I was like, "No, we can't do that again." And I learned the differences in people on the other side as well, because you run into other people, when you're earthbound and you're on the other side, um, there's people. And, some of them were angry, some of them were delusional, some of them, didn't know what the heck was going on. And, by the time I was a teenager, I had realized that some of them really needed help. And I'm that kind of person, I'll help anybody. If you're in trouble, I will stick my foot in it and help you. And, so I started trying to help them get to where they were going. I instinctively knew where that was. By the time I was 16 years old, I knew there were other realms that I could go to, and I started working on that. I was inadvertently lucky as a very young child because we lived out in the Everglades in Florida, and we lived near a settlement of Hare Krishna out there, and I found them, and I used to go hang out. They did not want to let me in unless my father gave permission because I was very young, and I brought my father with me to their gate, and they let him in with me, and they said that I'm driving them crazy and want to know everything. And I had a real push need to start that journey, that religious quest. Okay. And I think it was about 7 when that happened to me. My father finally gave permission, but he warned them all that if anybody laid a hand on me, it would be bad. And he made them to understand that he's an airborne ranger and don't mess with me. You mess with my child, you're dealing with me. And they all got that, clearly got that. And they treated me like gold over there. And I learned I learned everything about Krishna I could learn. I learned about Hinduism. I learned anything they wanted to teach me, I learned. A lot of it I sort of got already. Um, Transcendental meditation uh, taught me what I was already doing. It gave me like a backstory to what I was doing instinctively, and that helped me a lot. Yes, it gave me a roadmap to look at in a different way. Okay. By the time I was a teenager, I was already learning other religions. My father saw that I really, really was interested, and so I would go to. There was a Buddhist temple in Miami. I would go there. Um, I w- um, I l- I learned about the Veda and Shiva, you know, all the different gods that they have. I started diving deeply into that. I learned about the monks, in the Himalayas, Buddhist monks and their traditions and things. And I learned about Mormonism. I learned about all everybody, all of them. And I went to different churches and stuff like that throughout my lifetime. And basically, his encouraging me to do that was to teach me that there's a oneness to everything, and that I'll start to see the similarities, in every
Like a
religion.
pattern recognition, sort of.
Yes. And what does that all mean, and how does that affect us, and things like that. I was like more than scientific as a child. Okay, I'm going to go into what consciousness really is. You can't raise it. It is absolutely there. You have to connect to it. That's the point. It's not raising. You don't raise your consciousness. It's already there. Hello, I'm operating. Where are you? It is not raising your consciousness. People somehow magically think consciousness is vibration. It is frequency. No, it is not. Your brain, all frequency really is. If you're scientific and you understand what frequency is, I'll show you. I have a telephone, all right, and it's set to ring when somebody's communicating with me on it, and that communication turns on and it makes a sound, a vibration, and I hear it and I know that I have to answer it. That's what frequency is. Your brain has frequency of its own. Everybody thinks in alpha, beta, theta, delta, and gamma waves. There's a few others, but those are the 5 primary wavelengths. A wavelength is the energy that you create to think. It's electrical, okay? And we know from EEGs, electroencephalograms, electro what what that wavelength is, and you can measure somebody's frequency, and it's like a thumbprint. We all have a different frequency we emit. The Earth is a moving body in the head, in space, okay? And it's spinning and gyrating. It has things going on. The mantle's moving. It's creating frequencies because when you have an earthquake, that's a frequency. You know, when the oceans are sloshing, that's a frequency. When you ring a bell, it creates a frequency. It's an energetic something that creates the frequency. All planets have their own signature frequency, even the moon. All the moons, everything has a frequency. We all have frequencies. The Earth has a frequency. It is not thinking, it is not alive. We are, though. And our consciousness has the same exact identical frequency as our physical mind, because during the process of becoming, when you're fertilized and the moment the energy starts in the cells and they come together, that's when you start indwelling your body. You're there at the very beginning of it. And you're already programming this mind to hear you. Okay, we're not just hearing the environment around us in the womb, we're hearing our actual selves. That's why children seem to be very intelligent when they're very young, and people wonder, where did that come from? It's because they're in 100% contact with who they really are. We teach them to shut up and only listen to the physical mind and not themselves. We tell them, there's something wrong with you. You're weird. You're different. Don't tell me that. That's not okay. Wrong. You've just done a disservice to your own child. You've stopped your child from experiencing reality and driven them into delusion. We have children who grow up in delusion. We have delusional experiences all the time. We teach our children to watch these weird, stupid, mystical BS shows on TV. We put things on their head and show them alternate realities. They're not real. We affect them with violence and hate and division, and they pick up on it. They're not stupid. They see it all happening, and it scares the BDD out of them, and they stop hearing self. That's what we're doing. So the idea of raising your consciousness is not real. You have to connect back to it. That's what it is. You have physiology.
So in that level, like raising the consciousness, even like as I said, raising the frequency, there's nothing to do really, because you are a frequency, and it's not
right.
it's not changeable as such.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Now I'll tell you how that works. You got a radio, right? And it has AM and FM on it in bands. Okay. Bands of frequency. They know what each frequency level is, and they've shown it to you on the band. And you've got a tuner, and you can tune to that frequency. So you zero in on what that frequency is saying. You're communicating with it. Yes. That is a physical representation of the ability that you have naturally in your head to hear everything outside of yourself. And it comes from your pineal gland in your brain.